All right, guys. So obviously we talk about a lot of true wireless earbuds on the channel, so much to the point that people don't necessarily get as excited about new releases anymore because the market actually got pretty flooded. But one of the few brands that there are still excitement about when they release a new product, especially in the line that they have, is the Soundcore Liberty series. And so Soundcore is releasing the new Liberty 5, which is released as of today. They are sponsoring this video, but they did not tell me what to say. They don't get to see the video ahead of time. They're sponsoring it in a way where they are sending out a code for you guys to be able to save $10 on top of the $129 price tag, and also a code to be able to get a free traveling case. And all of this will be in the description, but let's just go ahead and jump into what these have to offer. So the first thing is they are available in 4 different colors. This is not really a surprise. Soundcore always have different color options. It is still the stem style design, which honestly isn't my favorite. I do understand, again, why companies do the stem style design because it allows them to house more of the components, usually extends battery life a little bit more. So I do understand this. It's not make or break as much as it used to be for me. The case on here is very small. It's very compact. I do like the sliding mechanism that it has for the lid. Again, it just keeps things just tiny. This is a very small case. I've always liked the Liberty series of cases. The case on here is a Qi wireless charging case, so you can just drop it on any wireless charger if you want to charge it that way. And then as far as some of the features, now it does have Bluetooth 5.4, so it does support multi-point connection. It also has wear detection on the earbuds, so it will just pause if you take them out of your ears and just go back to what you're listening to when you put them back in. It does, this time around, use squeeze control, so it's not relying on tap controls. I love the fact that they've done this because with earbuds, you always kind of find yourself adjusting every now and then, and usually it's causing you to like accidentally pause your music or skip your tracks or do whatever. But this time with the squeeze controls, it's more intentional. So I like this. You do have to go within their app to tweak some things to get it to actually control everything. But another interesting feature that they've added as far as being able to control it on your earbuds is the ability to take a photo with your phone by just using the squeeze controls on the earbuds. Now, again, this is something you have to set up within the app. And again, I do recommend downloading the app anyway because it allows you to keep these updated. In fact, I had 2 different updates right out of the gate. One for the earbuds just as a whole, and then one to allow these earbuds to have LDAC playback. So these do support LDAC, which is huge. Now, another thing that they've definitely improved upon is the active noise canceling. So they have what they call their real-time ANC 3.0. And what it's doing, I think it's like every 0.2 or maybe 0.3 seconds, it is kind of reading what environment you're in, like the noises and different things going on, and just changing the ANC based off your environment. So it's a smooth transition. In fact, you don't even know that it's happening, but it's trying to keep that same level of noise canceling no matter what you're doing. And another thing that they've improved upon is they've doubled up the voice reduction in the noise canceling. So when you've heard me talk about in previous videos that earbuds are good at blocking out lower tones, but not necessarily higher tones, these do a really good job. They've doubled up on top of the Liberty 4 NCs that came out last year. So it's twice as good at blocking out voices as that pair was. So if you're in an environment where a lot of people are talking, or if a TV's going on, anything that has the higher tones, it's going to reduce that quite a bit on top of already doing a really good job of blocking out lower tones. And another thing about the noise canceling is within the app, you can adjust the level of how much noise canceling you want to use. There is a wind reduction mode. So if you're going to be out riding a bike or walking or running on a windy day, you can eliminate having the wind affect the noise canceling. Now they do also have an awareness mode or transparency mode, and it does a really good job here. It's using 4 different mics to kind of bring in your surroundings to try to make it where you can hear your surroundings surroundings without having to take your earbuds out. Also within the app, this is how you turn on the LDAC. This pair also supports Dolby Audio, which you can turn on within the app. And again, I've said this, if you're going to use Dolby Audio for music, I'm just not a huge fan of this, but they do have 3 different modes. They have a music mode, a movie mode, and a podcast mode. So Dolby is trying to give you a more spacious sound. It's trying to simulate or give you that 3D sound. And again, I think it just kind of affects music a little too much for my taste. But when it comes to movies, this works fantastic. It gives you more space. It makes it feel a little bit more believable that you're in the environment of what you're listening to. I don't necessarily understand using Dolby on podcasts. I don't need more spacious sound when listening to just 1 or 2 people talk. But I guess, it's there if you do want to do this. And then outside of that, some other features is it does have different EQ options. There's some that are already pre-built in. It has its Hear ID sound, so it can kind of like tailor the sound based off hearing tests that you're going through. You can turn on and off the wear detection within the app. There is also a gaming or low latency mode if you want to use these for gaming or watching a movie and you don't have to worry about lag. And then there's a Find My Earbuds feature and also a feature that allows these to adapt to sound leakage. So if it feels like your earbuds are leaking a lot of sound around you, it will adapt to that and try to tone that down or try to hone that in a little bit. I haven't really seen this in a lot of earbuds, so I thought this was very interesting. Again, Soundcore's app is one of the best out there. I feel like they just offer so many different features, a lot of which you'll probably never use, but I guess just the fact that they're there just comes in handy. Now, as far as using these outdoors, they do come in with an IP55 rating, so it means that it does a really good job of kind of protecting you against rain and splashes and sweat and things like that, but it also has dust protection. So if you are on the beach or if you're on a job site where dust or anything could be just like flying around, you don't have to worry that these are going to damage your earbuds. Now, as far as what comes inside the box, you do get 6 sets of silicone ear tips. I found that the size that's already on these fit me perfectly, which is the medium. And then they've also included a USB-C cable. But like I said earlier, these do support Qi wireless charging, so you don't necessarily have to use that cable to charge these. But speaking of the charging, battery life is very impressive. Now, if you use these with the noise canceling off, you can get about 12 hours on the earbuds and about 48 hours total using the case. But with the noise canceling on, it brings it down to 8 hours on the earbuds and about 32 hours using the case. Now, another thing to keep in mind is if you are going to use the LDAC mode, it's going to bring the battery down just even more because it's just more power hungry. But if you do pick your earbuds up and they are dead, it does have a pretty impressive fast charging feature where a quick 10-minute charge will get you 5 hours of use. So again, battery life is not an issue with this pair. Now, if you are also going to use these for taking phone calls, it does have 6 microphones total, and it does a really good job of blocking out like a lot of the sounds around you. It's using what they call AI noise reduction. So if you're in a noisy environment, a lot of that's just not going to show up in a phone call. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a mic test using the Soundcore Liberty 5. Now, I am outdoors on a, not really a noisy day. It's not one of those like windy days. I do hear birds and some slight traffic to the right of me. So maybe that's picking up. But this is really just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's get into the sound. Now this pair uses 9.2 millimeter wool paper diaphragm drivers. This is what handles your mids and your treble, but it's also using dual bass chambers. Now these basically have that typical Soundcore sound signature where everything has a lot of space to it. It is definitely improved upon the previous versions. This is something that Soundcore does every year. They just tweak it and do something a little bit different. But it does have plenty of space. It does not hold back when it comes to the low end. Now, I do feel like the tuning of these, which is the Soundcore signature EQ that it has out of the box, is a little too warm for my taste. I think that most people are going to be completely happy with this, but because of the low end that these have, I like to have a brighter treble. But the plus here is once I went through the different sound tests that they have within the app, this was something that had already adjusted and had me a much brighter treble to go along with that really punchy low end. So it's going to check the box for most consumers. It definitely has that consumer tuning out of the box, but it does also respond to EQing very well. So if you want to bump up the mids a little bit to just have vocalists stand out a little bit more, you can do that. If you want the really bright treble to go along with that really punchy bass like I did, I was able to do that very easily. And you can also bump up or dial back the bass if you want to do that as well, which I'm a bass head. I like to have a punchier or more aggressive low end. I just don't like it to affect everything else. And I do feel like the tuning out of the box, the bass kind of does that. I think it warms up the sound a little too much, and it just doesn't have the brightness that I want to go along with that. But again, luckily, that was easy to fix. And then when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, this is a very spacious sounding earbud. Because of the space that Soundcore always has in their products, this has never been an issue. And also being able to tell where different sounds are coming from, I never had an issue here either. So my overall opinion is this. Soundcore, again, with their Liberty lineup, is proving that this is going to be one of the more popular earbuds out there. This is if you're a fan of stem style design earbuds. The noise canceling is excellent. The awareness mode is great. The LDAC playback is always nice to have. The Qi wireless charging, the battery life is definitely some of the best out there. I mean, honestly, like, the only complaint that I really have is the tuning that it has out of the box. I'm just not the biggest fan of. And I'm still just not the biggest fan of stem style design earbuds. Now, I've kind of grown to like them a lot more than I used to. I don't know. That's just personal preference, and that's just cosmetic anyway, so it's not a huge deal. Outside of that, this is an easy recommendation, especially in the fact that you're getting all of these features. You're getting noise canceling that starts to compete with the much higher end or more expensive brands. And it comes in at $129. Or right now, there's a code which I have in the description that'll save you an additional $10, and then you can also use the other code to get a free travel case, which is huge because it keeps you from getting your normal case scratched up by throwing them in your pocket or your bag or whatever. But guys, I want to thank Soundcore again for sponsoring today's video. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.